Hello. This is the second attempt. As always, we never get it right in the first try. So we're going to try this again. And I am going to make a quick text here to my buddy Sam. Welcome to Generator Live. We tried to go live a minute ago and it just didn't work. So now we're back. And I'm going to see if he's going to be able to join me here. All right. So let me see what I got. And hello, buddy. Can you hear me? You're muted. See, we're doing all this thing again. Ugh.
Hey, we're good now.
There it is. All right. So, welcome, my friend. This is one of those days, man. I was like, the last couple of times that I've wanted to go live, I have had something just catastrophic go live, literally at go live time. So everything's working in all my pre-production and I did all my tests and everything's great. And then I get online and something freaks out. So I'm glad you're here with me, man. Merry Christmas. Welcome.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Sure.
All the things.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that. We'll go with happy holidays. All right, man. So for those of you watching, if you haven't already been turned off, I am here. I am with Sam. So if you know Sam at all, Naked Humans online, phenomenal boudoir photographer down in the DC, Maryland, Baltimore area. Basically anything south of Maine is either like DC or Florida to me. So you're in that general area. And we're going to talk tonight, I'd like to anyway, air some grievances. I think when you and I were talking last night, we were like, we should be broadcasting all this stuff. So I went through and I printed off all of my grievances from this year, and then also went through the last time you were on was over a year ago, October 24th, somewhere thereabouts, late October 2024. Yeah. So I want to get caught up on that, and I've got notes. I even prepped for this whole thing. So first and foremost, before we get too in depth with all the stuff going on, how have things been, man? How are you today? How are you today? Forget about the past.
Today's a good day. Today's a good day.
All right.
Today's a good day.
I'm good with that. And look at me. I'm like, do not disturbing. All the things that I usually have that I just ease into a live. I'm pressing buttons. So if something freaks, let me know.
We're doing it live today.
We're doing it live. All right. So as I think about the last time we talked about things like the Instagram algorithm bullshit. We talked about the feast or famine economy, imposter syndrome, therapy as a business expense, which I think we can definitely talk about, living in the gap, AI and the well-crafted prompt future, the loneliness of creative life, collaboration versus old school competition, right? We covered a lot of stuff. We went really deep on a lot of things. And so when you and I were talking last night, it seems like all of those things are still pretty present in our world. And I'm not saying for you specifically or for me specifically, but it seems like all of these things are present. So I wanted to talk about a couple of those topics, and then we'll get into the fun stuff in a little bit. But you and I were talking about how challenging this entire year has been. And I know on my side, I have had very few paying clients since August of this year. I can count on one hand the number of clients that I've had. And it's become a real race against time to keep my studio alive, keep everything going before I get to the finish line and I say, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I can't compete with myself anymore. I can't keep the business alive anymore. I know that everybody that I've spoken to is kind of going through similar stories. How are you doing with all of your stuff? Is it similar for you, or are you, swimming in riches?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm manifesting for you, man. I'm manifesting.
Yeah. The only thing that I was just like, it's so wild because like I've been reaching out to people that I consider like veterans in the space and people that I look up to in business or whatever. And it seems to be the common thread. And Like I'm reaching out, going, "Do you guys have any ideas?" I'm just chipping out for ideas. Like I'm not even going, "Woe is me," right? Because like everybody's going through it in some way or some capacity. But like if you have a golden nugget, something that I can chase after, or maybe within the conversation we come up with something or a think tank or something, then that's all well and good. But yeah, this year's been wild between the economy, lack of clients, me personally having four back to back floods in April. And then you talk about personal life after, then like the business stuff is just like parents are getting older, things are happening, friendships and relationships either get fractured or there's so many things that happen throughout, and you have to kind of keep on going, keep on trucking through and trying to figure out what the next thing will be or how long you have to tread through this mud until you get to the other side. But also, like even when I shared in the last time in the previous podcast, like the dark times in my life, like those moments were pivotal because in the uncertainty, the door or the window was open for whatever it is or was that was going to lead me into the next chapter. Like before it was music, then it became visual arts. Now, I don't know. Will it be online media? Will it be YouTube? Will it be a podcast? Like, I haven't even posted up my work as of recently on my feed. Like, I've just been doing this thing called Wisdom Wednesdays every week and just pouring out my soul, and seeing if it resonates with anybody else. And by like weird, like people just hit my DMs saying, I really needed to hear that, or I'm going through this, and it furthers a conversation and a dialogue in the DMs. And that's all well and good, but like if there's anybody out there, sponsor this child. Like I would love for me to continue, or for the business or for the naked humans or anything, even if it changes in structure or by definition, like that it's still helping people, that it's still helping people get from point A to point B. And everybody's got to eat, so hopefully some way to monetize that. So if you're within earshot of this thing, by all means, book Matt, book myself, hurry up, stop waiting, new year, new me, do the thing, get the headshot, get the portrait, do all the things.
You've been doing exactly what I've been doing, which is not getting to the point where you're just shutting down and you're saying, wow, I'm terrible at this, I'm not good at my job, I can't take a picture. It's not like that for people like you and me. What we do is we look at it and we say, all right, we got this thing in front of me, it feels insurmountable, so I've tried everything that I can do. Let me start asking my friends, right? Because I'm just out of ideas, and we spend so much time on our own, just in our head thinking and thinking and thinking, like, how do I do this differently? Or I think, Sam is doing it this way. Maybe if I tweak it a little bit, I can do the same thing. And so I started calling my friends and studio owners too, and just doing check ins, right? Because this year's been real shitty. And so I've been doing check ins and saying, how are things going with you? And I've had four friends shut down studios. I've had more people that were like, I can't do this as a photographer anymore. I'm going to get a second job, or I'm going to get a third job, or I just have to leave photography completely right now and focus on providing for my family. And all of that is valid. We got to do what we got to do. I'm actively looking for a second job right now. Where I am makes that opportunity really, really difficult when it's something that is not capable of being done remotely, right? And there's the metro Portland, Maine area, there's Boston. Sure, I can move, but we get to this point where we want our business to work so badly. We run out of money, and then we're stuck where we are because we don't have the money to move somewhere else and try something different. And it's this real vicious circle, which is our willingness is there. We want to come up with ideas. We want to be able to provide the service, but we have to run the business. But we're at the whim and fancy of people that treat us like a luxury service. We are a luxury service, right? What you do and what I do, we're luxury. We're not low ticket, churn it and burn it type of retail photography. And the difficulty with that is that it takes us longer to find our ideal clients. We have them. It's not the same type of sales cycle where we can just put online, hey, I'm doing photos on Friday and flood the place, and then, you're done by Saturday morning with all your editing. It's not like that.
Yeah.
So when I'm calling my friends, I'm like, what are you doing? Right? The same conversation we had last night. What are you doing to make it? And then I typically get hit with, well, I'm not making it. What you see online is all smoke and mirrors. And I'm like, I fucking knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Right? I'm like, I'm not the only one. Okay, it's not me. All right, I feel better that you're miserable as well. Okay, cool. We're good there. Now it comes down to, all right, I got that out of my system. I'm sorry you're not doing well. Now, how do we get out of this? Who else do we ask? Who do we go to? And every veteran that I talk to is really struggling. And I don't say any of this to be like, oh, we can rest in our misery. But it's just, okay, it gives me a little bit of solace to know that I'm not the only one out there. And when I can look at it and say, well, there's an industry-wide thing happening. Cool, right? Cool. Now I can look at it differently and say, well, if the industry is changing and everybody's up against this, I can take a step back and say, well, where do I need to look? How do I need to look at this thing? What works and what doesn't? Where are people going? And that's kind of where I am right now, which is trying to pivot, but I don't necessarily know how to pivot or where to pivot. So one of the things we talked about was like networking. Have you been outside of our industry? Have you been able to network with different types of business owners and networking groups and whatnot to see what you can drum up there? Maybe we can give some people ideas, even if they're not helping us, give people ideas in their areas. What are you thinking about?
1,000%.
Yeah.
I think first and foremost, if you're a photographer within earshot of what I'm saying and you've been slacking on video, stop. Like really just hone in, reach out to people like Matt or myself and figure out how to use your camera for other than just photo, because you're leaving money at the table, for your own personal stuff, and for your own like branding and stuff like that. But also, you could get those other gigs if you knew how to work video, and it doesn't take a lot. You have the tools already for the most part. So that part. And then some of the things that I've been thinking about and some of the things that I've been drumming up in like little think tanks when I call my friends, call up local hotels that hold and host conferences and ask them for their calendar year and send out, requests and figure out those companies that are hosting those conferences, find out if they're going to have a photographer. When they say, oh no, we didn't even think about that, you set up that rate and then you go, what about for this conference? You guys need headshots. And guess what? Now you're covering the event. Now you're also doing headshots. Oh, but you can't be in two places at one time. Well, guess what? There's another photographer that's trying to eat too that you can subcontract while they're covering the event. You can back to back these headshots and get things done. This way, not only are you eating, but you're also helping out your fellow creative and your fellow man and fellow woman in regards to getting some work done and getting some stuff out there. Because again, I think, and this is the bad thing. So like when there's a lot of work, you don't care. You send out those referrals. When there's not a lot of work, you want to take all that in. And the attitude should always be, there's always enough for everyone to eat. Even though the reality may be that it's not, everybody is literally hurting right now. And again, because this is a luxury type of thing we're not groceries. We're not groceries. We're not, the things that need to be done or have to have in the house, but we're still businesses. We're still storytellers. We're still trying to do the things out there. Other things that you can do. If you know how to work your way around video, churches need testimonies and people, interviews and stuff like that. Any business or organization, nonprofits that need to tell their story through a interview type process. Well, guess what? Show up with your camera, show up with the gear, interview these people, edit it in a way that's excellent so that their brand can be highlighted and that you can get those gigs in there. What else did I real estate? I mean, volume obviously is a big deal in that space. Like if you're just getting one or two real estate listings to take photos of, then yeah, no, that's not worth it. But if you have an agent or an agency that does high volume and you're doing 7, 10 a day, then yeah, that's worth it in that regard for that turnaround. And if you're like, well, I don't know how to do that, well, guess what? It's really easy. Figure out how to bracket shoot on your camera, and you don't even have to edit. There's a gazillion editors out there that'll charge anywhere between, and the market right now is $15 to $30 on editing an entire listing. Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. And, one of the things that I've been doing, I'm messing with the camera a little bit here. Before I get into that, I wanted to add in Mary Vogel was saying, let's blow this up a little bit. Yeah, this is getting out of this scarcity mindset. And I think that's one of the big things that we're saying here, which is we're not sitting around going, wow, we can't figure this thing out. And oh, poor us. We chose this life, right? But there's the group of people that have that victim mindset where this is happening to me and there's nothing I can do about it. I just have to ride it out versus those of us that look at it and say, all right, what we're doing just isn't working, but we're smart, creative people. How do we get around this? And now it's just a matter of adapting to the situation. What's really happening, right? And I love what you were saying about the real estate because that's one of the things that I do up here to help Airbnb, right? Because I live in a tourist area, so it's Airbnb hosts, VRBO, as well as the real estate agencies that are doing part-time rentals, seasonal rentals, home sales, the whole bit. Now, I'll give you the whole model. I base everything on square footage. You go up to 2,500 square feet, it's $250. 3,500 square feet, $350. What does that include? A couple of pictures of every room, really clean, nice HDR so you can see out the windows and all that sort of stuff. Everything's lit really well, but it only takes me about 45 minutes to shoot a home. Less than that if it's a condo, right? But you do this job, you go home, I throw it, upload it to Fido and have it do basic color and white balance. I get that back in about 10 minutes, let's say for 100 photos. I then turn it around, ship it right out to the client. Everybody's happy. So for about an hour and a half of work, it starts at $250. For me, that's the balance between affordability for the agent and paying me for my time. And I like that somewhere between $150 and $200 an hour range based on what we do. That has given me the ability to at least have gas money most weeks because even though the home sales have slowed down, this is the time of year that rentals go up. So I'm just doing that. And you treat people right. Maybe if you have a drone, you do some aerials of the thing as well. You throw that in. I'm all about building repeat clients in that space. When it comes to events, I'm a day rate guy. It's going to take me 4 hours, half day rate, full day. I don't do hourly. I don't say, oh, I can do it for $65 an hour because that never works out. Half day rate, full day rate, that's what you get. And the thing I like about events, I always overproduce. I don't know about you, but I go into it thinking like this is going to be the Oscars, right? And it's usually a bunch of corporate middle management sitting around going, I don't want to talk to Susie. Oh, please don't come over here, boss, right? And so you're just trying to get people while they're eating whatever terrible beef wrapped in shrimp and bacon type of hors d'oeuvre, and you're trying to take pictures of them. I like those things because they're easy, but because they're easy, I tend to overcomplicate them and I make it worse. And then I'm working longer and think I'm producing art and I'm not. I think these are the types of ideas that if you've never done it before, try it. Just go and do it. What's the worst that you're a professional photographer? What's the worst that can happen? Right? Really, what's the worst that can happen? You don't get that job again next year. Right? I'm not saying go do a shitty job. What I'm saying is like think outside the box of what you normally do. If you're doing families most of the time and have never done a wedding, maybe you poke your toe in the wedding, right? If you've never done boudoir, but it seems to be hot in your area, maybe you dip your toe there. All I'm saying, you don't have to specialize in these things. You don't have to make it your full-time profession, but broaden your scope. Broaden the scope of what you're doing. For me, you mentioned video. That's what I'm living in now, right? I'm doing live streaming, YouTube shorts, and by shorts I mean like 10 minutes, talking head stuff, helping people with video, teaching them video. All of that, I'm just drawing on skills that I have and then can potentially monetize. Are you seeing anything from photographers where they're asking you the same questions over and over about video or content production or anything like that? Are you seeing any threads in your questions from your friends?
Mostly that they don't know how to do it, and yeah, there's just some simple rules that you need to follow, depending on your frame rate. Like if it's 24, then double your frame rate. And that on a camera, either you're gonna have 48 if your camera has video specific settings, but it's 1/50th of a second if it's that. If you're shooting at 30 frames a second, make sure that you're at 1/60th of a second. If you need slow motion stuff, that's anything above that. So 60 to 120 frames a second, and you have to just double your frame rate for those things adequately. Make sure that you're on a tripod or a monopod, something that's stable, that's not shaky. And don't trust that your hands are not going to be shaky, because they will be. But there's that. And then the other part of that is audio. And the things that are out now for audio are outrageous in regards to like the entry to come in and get like great audio at minimal price. I'm like, things that used to cost, I mean, I'm old school where the Sennheiser G series used to be the wireless thing that you have to use.
Yep.
And now you have things like the Hollyland Lark stuff, and that's like $100 or less. If you get the A1s that go on your phone, you're talking about 30 to 40 bucks to give you excellent audio quality that you can then put into your video. So there's literally like no excuse. It used to be that, oh, it's not within reason financially, it's too hard to learn. Like literally go on YouTube, ask a friend, what do I need to do? And for the most part in video, just make sure that your frame rate's good, that your white balance is on point, and that you got a good source for audio, and Bob's your uncle, call it a day. And if you don't know how to edit, there's editors. Make sure that you subcontract. Make sure that the rate reflects what you need to charge an editor to fix that up for you. Because again, turnaround is the biggest factor for photo or video. The faster you get that turned around and get it to the client same day, if possible, if you have the tools or AI assists that for all those things, then use all those things so that you can get a high turnaround. Like the biggest reason why I get forwarded wedding clients through other wedding clients is because I've now developed a system that within 48 hours, they receive their entire wedding photos.
Fast. That's fast.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, and by the time I leave, they already have their sneak peeks, and they have those sneak peeks printed in real time with those Polaroid printing things. And it's those little bite-sized nuggets of value that you're handing off. And if you're shooting events, it literally costs you nothing to pull out your phone and take footage on your phone, because that's the footage that people are gravitating towards on social media, and send that off to the client and be like, I took some of this stuff on my phone. If it's of any value and you want to share it, like you don't even have to edit it. They're just happy that they got more content.
Yep. 100%. I went to a content creator camp with Ecamm back in October. And one of the things that they had going, they had, one of the marketing people was going around with their phone and just kind of taking pictures and, doing all the just basic event coverage with a phone. And then they had one of those little Kodak instant printers and on a table, and they just kept sending the pictures over there. And all you had to do is, like, in between sessions, walk out and sift through the pictures, and they were just kept spitting them out. And you could find pictures of you and your friends, and it was a really cool instant thing to have, this memento from the camp of you hanging out with your friends and learning stuff. And I just thought that was really cool. And I was like, wow, this is the first time I'm seeing anyone do this at an event in real time. I'm not in the wedding space, so this may be pretty common, but for me, it wasn't common at all. And so I thought that was a huge value add, and it was a low lift for them. I want to go back to the audio for a second. You mentioned the Sennheisers because I can see within eyeshot an entire Sennheiser, G2 system with tram mics and the whole thing. Probably $1,500 of equipment sitting in a Pelican case right there. And I've been using my little DJI mics. I bought a Hollyland Lyra camera a couple weeks ago, and it came with that large.
That's what I have using right now.
Yeah, and it looks amazing, right? So
yeah,
I've got the Hollyland at my other studio. I've got a YOLO Live here, but that little Lark mic, man, oh man, I was impressed with that stupid little thing. And I'm like, it was just an add-on. I'm like, how good can this wireless mic be? There is literally no excuse for you to be filming on your phone or doing anything without a good Bluetooth mic, without a good little audio device. Because whenever I see someone filming and you can tell that they're just using the phone audio, I want to jump through the screen and just shake them until something breaks, whether it's my will, whether it's their will, whatever it is. I just want to shake until something breaks. And there's no excuse to not have good audio. When I think about all these different things that we can do, I love hearing stuff like that. Oh God, I never even thought about offering that to my clients. And the closest that I've gotten to is in the studio. I'll give them a little digicam, a little old Nikon Coolpix sort of thing, and people go around and they shoot with that. And while they're cleaning up in the dressing room or I'm breaking down the studio, I'm dumping all those pictures off and give them to them before they leave. And now they've got their own pictures that they took at their day that aren't on their phone. And it was just a really cool little thing to be able to add into some of these photo shoots, for their spouse to be there or a boyfriend, girlfriend, family member, whatever, to be taking these pictures because they're going to see things differently than I do. And they found it to be so much fun, right? So what are the things that we can do that add value, add fun, separate you from your competition? But at the same time, what are things that we can do to involve other creatives? You said get a video editor. Brilliant. But just research what the rates are going to be first before you say,
that.
Hey, I just got paid $250 for this job. Can you edit a 1 hour doc edit for $50? Right? And you won't believe how fast they hang up on you. But if you can understand what it takes to edit this stuff, outsource. Bring in an assistant. Pay them for a day to come and help you at a shoot. This is where we need to kind of reach out to each other and help collaborate a little bit more. And I'm a big believer in that. I don't have a lot of peers up here, but I know like you, I will travel anywhere to help on a project if it aligns with what I'm doing and my time and it pays well. I'll do anything. I'll help any other creative out there. So have you been able to do that? I know you have a lot more photographers down there with the whole like peculiar crowd and, Kiati's crowd. And, like you've got a great source of creativity down there. Are you finding that people are collaborating, coming together a little bit more? Or are we all just kind of in this for ourselves right now?
No. I think everybody's like open to share information and stuff like that. I reached out to my buddy Austin, who's part of the Peculiar crew, because he's more involved with the real estate gigs. And I didn't understand the market. I didn't understand the rates. I didn't understand the deliverables. And a friend of mine who's a real estate agent gave me a couple listings, and I wanted to make sure that I came in prepared. Like I have the gear, I understand bracketing, I understand wide angle shoots. Like I have a 16 to 35, but I also have the Laowa 10 millimeter zero distortion lens, which is not only an inexpensive lens, but it's so good for real estate stuff. So, did the bracketing, did all the things, but I'm not good with the editing for real estate stuff. It's just not my forte. And I asked Austin, do you outsource? He's like, of course, because I get volume. And he sent me the link to the editor. Editor charged me $20 for each listing and turned it around in 24 hours. And Bob's your uncle, call it a day. You've made your money. You didn't even have to worry about editing. You just literally handed over the files And the next day at the same time, you have the things that you can send out to your real estate agent, and you're good to go. And they're happy, we're happy, everybody's happy.
Yeah, that's the emphasis on time there, right? Because I find that if I can do a couple of those jobs in a day, I suddenly have $1,000 day that I wasn't planning on. And it's, for me, it's less about the work that I'm doing, right? Which is going to be clean. And I love that same. I have the Laowa 9mm for my crop sensor, and it's, love that lens. And everybody's just like, oh my God, you're so much better than, these other photographers. I'm like, I'm really not. I'm just using a wider lens. I'm like, we're both pressing buttons. But the more you have a workflow and a system down for that, the more work you can do. And it sounds silly and it sounds, stupid and intuitive, but that's really all it is for that type of photography. I think I was doing a headshot shoot yesterday, and my process is not efficient in the studio at all. I get all caught up in trying to be an artist. And instead of like just giving the person 3 headshots, I'm there for 2 hours, right? And we're trying all different things. But I love the fact that my workflow is such outside of the studio. My editing goes like this. I can get delivery good. So I can spend a little bit more time in the studio with the client, connecting, making them feel good. But my delivery doesn't suffer on that. And so it all, for me, comes down to this running taxi meter in my head. How long is this taking? How much money am I making per mile, right? And how much can I put in my pocket so that I can eat this week, so that I can pay my mortgage, so that I can go out to dinner with my girlfriend? Like these sorts of things. It's getting harder and harder to find those little niches. So there's this thing going on right now where I think a lot of us are facing this. We don't know what ideas other people are doing. And I'm constantly looking around. One of the other things that I've seen throughout this year has been the proliferation of everybody selling courses and digital goods. And I have a lot of opinions on that. A lot of opinions on that. But I admire the entrepreneurial spirit of it, no matter what you're doing. And I'll give credit to anybody that they're putting something out into the world. Now, it might be at a different level of quality, but I admire the fact that they're going for it. I stopped doing a bunch of that course stuff because it just didn't feel right to me to be doing that. But I love making digital goods and selling templates and ebooks and that sort of thing. Do you do any sort of digital goods right now of any sort?
Not yet. So I have like a bunch of presets that I've done, but then AI has just like kind of eviscerated that kind of entire thing, because you can literally ask AI to do a preset based on literally any photo. And there you go. You have an XML file and you're ready to go. You could even make a lookup table for video and just tell AI, hey, I want it to look like this movie by Christopher Nolan. And it'll give you an XML file and it'll generate all those things for you. So I've thought about that kind of stuff. And I think a lot more along the lines of just resource instead of like course type of stuff is more where I lean towards as well. I really have like a teaching spirit in regards to like wanting other people to grow in the craft and know how to use the tool so the tool can get out of the way, and then you can do your job as a person that's working with another human being. Because if you're worked up trying to figure out how your tool works, you'll never get the connection that you need. And especially with portraiture like you do, and boudoir like I do, and interviews like I do as well, and a bunch of the mixed stuff that we do, like the necessity for the connection is far greater than your technical aptitude. But your technical aptitude needs to be a certain level. Like you can't just hit auto and go. So just make sure that all the things technically you got down, and that can get out of the way because you already know. as a photographer or a seasoned photographer, you should be able to walk into a room, look at the light, look where the light is coming from, the quality of light, and if your thumb could naturally go to the Kelvin and literally change it manually to know exactly where you're going to go and what you're going to shoot. And if not the Kelvin thing, at least be like, oh, that's an incandescent light. I'm going to hit the incandescent, preview and all that. Or if it's daylight and so on and so forth. Before I forget, if you are a wedding photographer listening to this, a great value add is that you don't have to do barely anything. Granted, if you know how to do video stuff, then do it nice and do it professionally. But even if you don't, if it's just a Bluetooth microphone and your phone, please, please, and if there's no videographer, please, 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 those VIPs, I won't say parents because some people don't have great relationships with their parents, but whoever the VIP and the very important people are at that wedding, take 5 minutes, pull them to a side, interview them with your phone or with your camera. It literally costs you nothing. Interview them, get their voice, get all of that, because 10, 20 years from now, you'll get thank you. Because now I not only have the photo to remember, but I have their voice to remember. When I think about how to add value to those kind of scenarios where groups of family, groups of friends get together, all of them for one occasion, that's the value add that I would want. I would want to hear my grandfather's voice. I would want to hear someone that really means something to me that, eventually everybody goes, that I can look back and hear their voice and see them moving and doing all that stuff. So it costs you nothing. Do the thing. But if there's a videographer, don't get in their way. Just keep it moving.
Watch where you step, damn it. No, it's a really good point. I saw Matthew Jordan Smith talk about this at one of the Portrait Masters conferences, and he talked about how he was losing his dad, and he would go and just take pictures and spend time and just take pictures because he knew that time was short and he wanted to create as much material as he could. And that sparked something in me. And my dad's going through something pretty similar where the dad I knew is no longer there, but he's in there somewhere. And so every time that I go down to visit him, and I'll see him tomorrow, and this may be our last Christmas together, but what I've been doing for the past couple of years is every single holiday I go down and sure we do the family photo, right? And I'm like, I roll in there with lights and a tripod, and it still never comes out right, but it's the act of doing it. We always get a good family photo, but I also try to video as much as I can. Little conversations, little moments hanging out with my dad because I want to be able to document as much of that as I can. Because when you don't have the opportunity to anymore, it's too late. So while it might not be what I would have done 5 years ago or 10 years ago, I'm doing it now because it matters. And if you go into your other events with that mindset that all the people at this wedding or at this event or, whatever, we're not getting out of this thing alive. So do as much as you can. I love that interview tip. I love that because you're right. I wish I had some of that from my wedding, right? And well, things have changed since then, but I still would have loved to have had some of, my parents interviewed, her parents interviewed. The videographer never did any of that, right? And you miss that moment. You can't replicate it. So I love that. Be capturing, be capturing, be capturing. Always be recording is kind of the way that I
Yeah,
look at it. All right.
for sure.
So let's think about a couple of other things that we can do in terms of just stimulating a little bit of business. We talked about some digital goods. We talked about the networking, the events, and all that sort of stuff. I think one of the things that we're up against, you mentioned AI earlier. We've talked about social media a little bit, but the trend that I'm really seeing, and I'm not saying this because I'm in front of a microphone, is the push to longer form live and pre-recorded content, not shorts, not reels, not TikToks. I'm talking 10, 20, 30, 60 minute things on YouTube. Why? Because people are watching YouTube on their televisions now, right? Instagram just did this. They're going to do like Instagram TV or some shit like that. That's going to be a disaster, but I'll watch it anyway. So as I sit at home and I turn on my television, I don't have cable up here. I don't have television. So I watch YouTube and I watch Netflix and streaming services. We're positioned as creators to be absolutely the next television networks, the next streaming creators. No matter how many people have done it in the past, and there's millions of people on YouTube, but there's, like you said earlier, enough room for everybody. So why not start doing it? And one of the things that I'm really trying to do now is pivot and start working out all my own kinks so that I can do this more. Because I can do this as long as there's electricity. God knows how long that's going to be. But as long as this thing is on and I can stream and I have a voice, I'll keep doing it. So are you dipping your toe at all into streaming, podcasting, live production, longer form content outside of client work? You doing anything for yourself?
I've tried and I've done the on and off, on again thing, and I think it's a lot of imposter syndrome on my end for that. But the trend is going to be more live. Why? Because of the AI thing, because of everything being pre-recorded and sometimes having even avatars that just people are not being real people. I think the value in humanity and an actual person doing an actual thing is going to be of extreme value in the next season and in the next wave of social media and the next wave of communications and where people's attention goes, because it's going to be live, because consumers and viewers know that if it's something that's posted, it's fabricated, it's commercial, it's AI, it's not real. But if it's live, up until this point, it's live.
Right. And it's been really freeing to do that. I spent so much time with Generator cutting everything up and really like spending all this time editing out the ums and the ahs and making sure that everything flows together and cutting between 2 and 3 angles. And then, I post it online and it's like, it's just nothing works, right? Like, what did I do wrong? What did I do? And it makes me feel like, all right, if people don't want the edited stuff, it means one of two things. One, I'm a shitty host and I'm just boring, which I totally accept. Two is people don't want the polished anymore. And we see this everywhere. We see it everywhere. People do not want polished videos. They want real. We talked about authenticity 2 years ago and everybody was like, authenticity is the word of the year. And then it became overproduced performative concepts. So we're actually now trying to be authentic. Speaking of authentic, we got a couple of people in the chat. Look at this. Johnny Guerrero, 2 of my fave gents. Johnny, Merry Christmas, my friend. It's good to see
Johnny.
You. He's one of the most sincere, just cool people, man. Just awesome. And then, of course, the incredible Nikki Lister. Oh my God, 2 amazing humans and friends. I can hear this in her voice right now. Oh my God. So she's amazing. Thank you, Nikki, for hanging out with us. Yeah, I think, the approach that I have, certainly as a Gen X, is everything's got to be polished and clean. And I'm always thinking about who's watching, and I'm very tuned into the politics of everything that I say. And it was taking me forever to produce anything. Now that I've let that go and I'm just doing it live and then posting it, it saves me time and effort on editing, and then I can get back to doing what I'm doing. Again, time is money. And it feels good to just produce and be done with it and not have to worry about editing for the next week and putting it out on a schedule. We're going to do this. This will be posted tonight or tomorrow morning. And Merry Christmas. And, the thing that I want people to understand is that you mentioned it about overthinking. Just don't overthink it anymore, right? If no one's watching you, well, no one's going to be watching your first 3 videos anyway, your first 4 videos anyway. So just do it and start working out the kinks. Get over yourself. Yep. And I'm not talking to you, but I'm just saying in general, just get over yourself. Just do the thing.
Yeah.
And if you keep waiting for the next course, like, oh, I just need to learn short form content or I need to learn video, you're never going to feel good. Just do the thing. When you feel
Do it.
like you don't know what you're doing, then start seeking out the help. Right. All right. We got one more from Mary here. Let's see what she's got to say. Totally appreciate this conversation on live streaming, although definitely an edge. I have a podcast and the bottleneck has been editing for me. Awesome. Good to know. That's a really common thing. That's a really common thing, is to have the editing be an issue in a podcast. And I have one quick thing to say about editing, but I want to pass it to you first. What are your thoughts on that, about the bottleneck of editing? Outsource?
I think either outsource, have a system in place or a template. If you don't know what we're talking about, by all means, just reach out. There's templates. You literally can Google like templates for editing these things, and everything from compression for audio, transitions, little lower thirds. Like, go ahead and, if I don't know if you have time or if you can do it while thing, but go ahead and put the names up for the lower thirds. These things can be templates. If I'm not mistaken, you already have templates too, so you could plug those in there as well. But like, if it's that, then by all means, just find the template, do the thing in regards to that, so it's not an issue. The other thing, again, like we just mentioned, scratch the idea of having stuff prefabricated and go live. Go live. Because that's literally the next wave.
You saw what happened earlier tonight. We went live and it got fucked 6 ways from Sunday. And then we just stopped it and we came back. You know, I guess, why not? Right? You don't lose anything by making a mistake. What you gain is a little bit of respect for getting back in the ring and doing it anyway. And so when it comes to live streaming, when it comes to, even if you want to do asynchronous recording, record offline and then publish it, try to do things that are as little editing as possible, right? And the way that you do that is exactly what you were just saying, Sam, which is do a little preparation beforehand. Have a list of topics that you want to talk about. Have an idea, a general North Star of what you want the conversation to be. For example, tonight is all about airing grievances and just figuring out how we might be able to make some money in an economy that is taking it out of our pockets faster than it's putting it in. So what are the things that we can do to help the creative community? And I think the more conversations that we have like this, where we can talk to each other and say, you know what, we're going through the shit right with you, but here's what we're doing. Here's the success or not success that we're seeing with it. It at least comes from a place of honesty and realness. And I'll be the first one to say, nothing that I do online in terms of live streaming or podcasting brings me money. What it brings me is notoriety as a subject matter expert, because I've been doing this for 25 years. It brings me that. It makes me a go-to expert. So when people like Mary say, you know, something along the lines of, hey, you got any tips for live streaming? I got a shitload of tips for you for live streaming. I got a whole bunch of stuff. But this is the thing to say, well, Mary can get in touch with me or you and talk about any of these topics. But we have to get over ourselves and thinking that, oh, I don't want to reach out to Sam. He's really good at that thing. I don't want him to feel like I'm taking from him. Have the conversation. A lot of us are going through it and we love sharing the knowledge. Now, if you're going to sit there and try to move in and have a 7-hour Zoom and pick my brain about everything, I'm going to charge you a little bit. But for like the one-offs, the tips, right? I'll reach over here. I got it over here somewhere. I'm going to fall off my chair. And
Please don't fall.
Please don't fall. So the book that I keep teasing about, right? Speak Less, Get More. It's a full book on the art of interviewing. And you talked about imposter syndrome and not wanting to put something out. This is the albatross around my neck because the information's good. It's going to help people. And I feel like I'm not worthy of writing a book. I'm not an author, you know? But I know that this is information that people need to have. because it helps them with live streaming, it helps them with having conversations, it helps with connection, it helps with all of this stuff.
Yep.
So I've finally gotten over myself after sitting on this thing for a year. It's coming out before WPPI. Hell or high water, no matter what happens.
Let's go.
It's coming out before WPPI. So I say that now live. I can't take it back. And so there it is. I'm accountable now, right? So I'm going to just check in here and just say, what's Nikki saying? It's less stress, and I feel like it allows people to see and experience the real you. 100%. That's the one thing AI can't replace, is any of that, right? So when it comes to this, when it comes to video, when it comes to live streaming, when it comes to your boudoir work or your education, your digital goods, I think when we look back in 10 years, we'll say, we tried. If it works or it didn't work, we tried. Or if we're very successful, we're going to say, can you believe how scared we were 10 years ago to do the thing? And here we are sitting on top of this pile of Scrooge McDuck money, right? Manifesting for you. And so I think the more that we do this, the more we show other people that it can be done. I'm not the first person to do this, neither are you. But I think there can be this real sea change with creatives of all types to get on and stop complaining about how you don't have work and make the work for yourself. Make the work, get online, start talking to people. The audience is going to show up. If I can get an audience, anybody can get an audience. So, all right, let's go. As Nikki says, she's like, let's go. I want a signed copy. Dude, I'm not signing electronic copies. You're going to download this thing, and I'm not signing. I'll send you a PNG file with my signature on it. I'm kidding. Yes, I'd be happy to get you one. So, all right, let's move on a little bit. So a couple of other things that we talked about last year was, and I love this one that came up, was therapy as a business expense. Can we do that yet? Can we do that? Tax time is coming up. Can I claim my
I hope
therapy
so. Jesus. Especially with my stuff, like a lot of people that come into my studio. Okay, so like let's talk about so there's boudoir and there's different flavors of it. Some of it is I want my thirst trap photos. That's good and whatever. I think I've made my brand very, very, very intentional in regards to people that are literally trying to get from point A to point B and feeling good about themselves and feeling good about their business, their bodies. Their bodies are the business. So the people that I attract usually come in with a lot of stuff. So I need to hold space for all that stuff. Whether that was the abusive ex-husband or the sexual assault case, or like it's really heavy stuff. And in order for me to make room for that, I need to make sure that I'm checking my stuff at the door and I'm making room for them as a client, not only for the photo stuff, but also holding space for them and their stuff and making sure that they're seen, heard, validated, and encouraged and empowered in this space. So I need a place to dump all that too, though. I can't keep that because it's in there somewhere. So you have to navigate that some way, somehow. You have to get that out somehow. And I don't know if it's therapy, journaling, creative ventures elsewhere, but that needs to be released somewhere, because if you're doing that intentionally and you're doing it wholeheartedly, you're taking that on in that space and in that time. So I very much encourage people to go to therapy. And now with this economy and everything else going on, not only, well, right now it's lack of clients, but like, it's just like we're all going through it and we need a space to make sure that our mental health is okay. And creatives are plagued with this stuff. I mean, you look at singers, artists, painters, everybody in the creative space, at some point in the juncture, mental health becomes a big concern. And it's better to have the tools beforehand, before the dips come and the roller coaster ride happens, so that you're better equipped to be able to handle those things. And even if not for yourself, you may run into another creative, and those tools that you picked up along the way, you'll be able to help someone else. And this is why, like, even back when I was in ministry days, and either the wife or the husband or whoever, somebody didn't want to go to couples therapy. I said, well, then don't do it for you. Do it to pick up the tools to help out your partner. Because if you think that they're the problem, which oftentimes the person who doesn't want to go to therapy is probably the one with the problem, but as they go, they're encouraged to pick up those tools. And if they really care about this relationship, they pick up those tools and they help along the way. And then they realize, oh, this is actually really beneficial. So, yeah, mental health is a big deal. It's one of the reasons why I've been doing the Wisdom Wednesdays things every Wednesday. And yeah, the response is always going to be great, especially when you have your act together and you know how to navigate life and your emotions and check all that stuff in. A lot of us are going through it, and a lot of us get triggered differently. A lot of us come from different areas, whether that's religious trauma, upbringing trauma, culturally, physical, like all those things. And knowing how to navigate life and how to people after all those things is incredibly helpful. And it not only make you a better human, but it'll make you a better artist.
The empathy that you describe, we all talk about creatives being a bit more empathetic, that we absorb that. And you're right, we do internalize a lot of it. But what I've found is when I don't have someone to talk to, therapist, friend, dog, whatever, if I don't have someone to whom I can offload just a little bit, then it festers and builds in my head. And me dealing with clinical depression and a slew of mental illness, I shut down. I shut down completely. I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm a real shitty human to be around. I stop eating. I stop speaking. Work doesn't matter. Just everything shuts down. And it's ruined relationships. It's ruined friendships. And when you're in it, it you're just like, I don't care. I'm just in this pit. There's no way out of it. And every single time that I've been in that, I've realized that all I needed was an ear. I needed someone to listen because I felt like no one was listening. So I started making a point of reaching out when I was at that point. Text, hey man, you got a couple of minutes to talk? I could really use someone. I don't need advice. I don't need anything from you. I just need to get some shit out. Put me on speaker and walk away. Doesn't matter. I just need to say this stuff out loud so that it doesn't keep taking up space in my head. And that little switch, it doesn't have to be the person that you live in the same four walls with. It can be someone you pay. It can be someone you know. It could be someone in line at a coffee shop where you just strike up a conversation. Because those moments of feeling less alone, especially around this time of year, especially for creatives, it can get real
Yep.
lonely, real hard, real fast. So, when you and I were talking last night and we shared some stories about those things, and I said, we should do a podcast. You said, let's do it. I love the fact that we're doing it tonight because I'm sure there are people out there that are like you and me and sitting home alone on Christmas Eve going, wow, it's great. I'm going to see all these pictures of all these people with these happy families and eating cookies and drinking cider. And I'm sitting here and my dog doesn't even want to be around me because I'm gassy and depressed and like no one wants to be near me. And I start thinking it's my fault. What did I do to drive people away? Why doesn't my family want to be with me? Right? All these insane concepts that make no real sense. But when they're between my ears, they make sense. And it's a real struggle. So I've learned that just doing this thing makes me feel like I'm talking to someone. I get it out, I get the poison out. And it doesn't work 100% all the time, but it sure as hell is better than curling up in the fetal position on my bed and not going outside or seeing sunlight for a couple of days. So, for those of you that don't know me or Sam, you just kind of wandered upon this, or if you do know us, you know that we will always pick up the phone and listen when you have an issue. Because if I can do that, I want to be that same resource for someone else. And it just seems to be around this time of year, we're all reaching out for somebody. So if it's not one of
Yeah.
us, reach out to somebody that you know, anybody in the chat, say something. We're not meant to be alone. We're supposed to be a tribe. So
Yeah.
if you're going through some shit and we can't help you, find someone that can. We're not therapists, but we can listen. And I think that's something that we're really missing these days is just someone to sit back and lend an ear. And I'm going to
The
check
power of listening.
power of listening. I'm gonna throw in here, see what Mary's saying. I love the fact she's hanging with us. So thank you both so much for the realness of this conversation. Definitely leaving with some inspiration. Mary, whatever you do tonight, thank you for just kind of being here and hanging out with us. And if you have the chance to have a real conversation with someone tonight or another creative or anybody that you know, have that conversation. Be upfront. Don't hide anything. It'd be amazing what people will accept from you when they feel like you're being real. Let's see
Yeah.
who else is in here. Jill, Miss Jill. So Jill, Sam, you don't know Jill. You need to know Jill. So Jill is one of the marketing folks at Ecamm and truly one of the most amazing humans that I've ever met. And she's a lot of energy. Let me just throw this out there. She's a lot of energy. But it's this wonderful, caring, giving energy. And when I think about like the creatives in my life that I want to most emulate, it's someone like her because she just gives and gives and gives and gives and gives. And I wish more people in our community were as giving as my friend Jill is. So let's start airing some grievances, shall we? I think we've done the deeper, darker stuff. We'll get rid of that.
Yep.
So now let's get into airing some grievances. So I went through everything from the past year that I've entered into Claude or ChatGPT. And all of those conversations, I said, I should pull up the prompt. I was like, I want you to go back through everything that we've ever talked about. And I want you to compile a list of the 20 things that you think are my biggest grievances. What am I complaining about? This is why I love using like AI, right? Because it knows me better than I know me. And oh, there's some good ones in here. And I didn't realize that like these were weighing on my mind so much. So the first one that I'm just going to write in, I'm just going to say in here, and there's no order or importance or anything. These are just 20 things that I picked out. So the $200 webcam rabbit hole. First one, right? Which is me trying to do the podcasting thing, trying to find the perfect webcam and get things to work right and make it look like a Hollywood production and have things like overhead cameras and do things like all sorts of stuff. And maybe we'll go over here and maybe we'll go over there and maybe we'll do this angle. And so all of that stuff, it means nothing at the end of the day. All I'm doing is finding ways to avoid doing the thing, which is live streaming, right? So the $200 webcam hole has nothing to do with the equipment. What it is avoidance and procrastination. If I just research this camera or this lens or this microphone, or if I just get this course, or if I get this cable that I know is 1 gigabit faster than my other cable, that's what I need, right? You don't need any of that stuff. So I find that I am really bad with myself about finding excuses like that. Do you have an excuse that you use all the time? And you're not allowed to say imposter syndrome because I'm not letting you do that shit anymore. Is there anything
No, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You find the gear. You find the gear that you're like, oh, I need that thing to start. I need that thing to start. And like literally, like all of our phones in 2025 literally can start the thing. Like if you're trying to start the podcast, if you're trying to start the YouTube channel, if you're trying to go live, like literally just pick up your phone. Stop making excuses. You don't need the light. You don't need the thing. People need you in your story. That's it. That's it. And I think it's time to stop waiting and waiting for this next gear, or I'll just save money to get the next thing or whatever. there's always going to be things that are going to make your life easier, or the quality and so on and so forth. And yeah, whenever you get to that bridge to cross it, cool, cross it. But you have to start. You have to do the thing. And let me see if I can pull this up on Ecamm on my thing on my side. Let me see if it'll actually pull up. Yes. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Working on Ecamm. So when I tell you guys about the whole like wedding thing, right? Like go ahead and like, but like when do we do that? Downtime, any downtime. I found a room at the venue that's completely empty. I set up my tripod and I boomed using a super clamp. One of these guys over here. You put a boom mic on the super clamp. Why did I use a boom mic? Because I didn't want to spend any time clipping mics on people, because I was going to waste so much time. But if I have the boom mic on the tripod and then I bring my camera and I put it on the tripod and it's already ready to go, I can bring mom and dad in here and have the story from mom and dad and ready to go. And he's sharing everything about how, how the bride took care of her dad during his cancer treatment. That's what they're sharing in this video right here. And for years to come, they'll be able to look back at that video and see and preserve that memory forever because you were ready. And my client didn't pay me to do video. My client didn't pay me to do video, but I'm going to do it anyways because that's what I would want from my photographer if they could do it. And because you didn't promise it to them and it's not a line item, you don't feel the pressure. If there is no downtime and you can't do it, well, okay, I couldn't do it, but if you can, then do it. There's no excuse. Get a tripod and a mic. What are you waiting for? Build memories and build client experiences that people will never forget. And build that into your pricing. If you think that you're worth more than that and that job costs extra, then put it as a line item in your financials, but don't tell them that that's what they're going to expect.
And I love every part of that, because you're not saying, oh my God, if you're not doing this, you're an awful person. Like you're just failing at doing your wedding. What you're saying is that it's not hard. You don't overthink it, right? Get your light stand, put a mic on it, get one of those cheetah stands that you can lift up and prop down and it just kind of spreads everywhere. You're not spending any time setting up stands. Do the thing to capture the moment. No one is going to care about the quality unless you screw that pooch 7 ways. But if you get decent audio and the people are in frame and relatively in focus, people are more concerned about the moment than they are about your pixel peeping technical perfection. Oh, you must have only been using a Nikon ZR and you weren't using a real red camera. No one, I guarantee you, is ever going to say that. And if they do, they're a nerd and, whatever, get rid of them. So the thing for me is I love the fact that you're so in tune to the story that you're doing everything that you can to capture it as quickly as possible. Because you're right, those are the moments that matter, right?
Yep.
So,
what's the other grievance?
Speaking of which, gear. What is the thing that you're chasing right now?
Oh my gosh! If I could,
yeah.
The full frame digital. I think it's the XD2 or what is it? The 1DX2 C2 whatever.
Canon.
Hasselblad.
Yeah. Oh the Hasselblad.
No, Hasselblad. Yeah, if I'm gonna do stills only,
that thing is dope.
Yeah, get that camera because it has 15-axis stabilization in the sense you can shoot at 1/15 or 1/5 of a second without any shake, and it's full frame, like not full frame, it's medium format. Sorry, why am I saying that? It's medium format. It's humongous and like, yeah. The only thing is it doesn't do video, but oh my God. For stills, that's my holy grail. So if Hasselblad's listening, just send that my way. Send one to Matt too. We'll appreciate it.
I love it, and I love the fact that you didn't go send one out. I'll test it for you and give you my honest review. And they'd be like, I don't care about your honest review. We just spent 30 years testing this thing. We don't need Sam from Maryland doing any sort of testing for us. We got this thing. Hasselblad, we're German. We got this. We know what we're doing with optics. So, but it's true. Like there's that high level gear. And it's funny that you mentioned the Hasselblad because I'm that same way with the Fuji medium format stuff. A bit more accessible from a pocketbook standpoint, but still way out of reach for me. But I look at it and I say, all right, if I have the Hasselblad or the Fuji, GFX 102, is that making me a better photographer, or am I just kind of flexing on other photographers? And it's cool if I'm flexing on other photographers because I can be like, Fuji master race. But it doesn't matter to me in terms of the story, right? Can it give me more capability? Yeah, absolutely. Does it make me feel better? Yeah, absolutely. But it doesn't change the fact that you're telling a story, right? You're pressing a button, you're capturing a moment in time. It's photons, man. All right, next grievance. The AI headshot apocalypse. Competing with $29 AI generated headshots when you charge actual money for real photography. It's like being a chef watching people get excited about Soylent Green. So I think for me, I spent a lot of time this year worried about AI while simultaneously trying to embrace it. Where are you at with the whole AI thing? Are you team fuck AI? Are you like, I'm going to adapt, or I'm all in and it's part of my workflow? Where are you at with that?
I gotta harness it, and you see this throughout history. Like when we moved from film to digital, and everybody's like, the film purist was like, "No, there were sommeliers," and they're like, "Film will never go away."
I need my Kodachrome.
Yeah, give me my Kodachrome, give me my 120s. Where are you guys? Fine cigar, give me port wine. And people were just like tortoise in the hair, and they were like, it's not going to change anything. What are you talking about? And granted, yeah, in the beginning of digital, it was pretty trash when you had to put a floppy disk inside of a camera. That's it. Yeah, it's kind of desperate. But eventually it took off. And at this rate, like, there is no like wiggle room now of like saying, oh, it's going to pass. That's just going to be a fad. No, it's not. It's here to stay. So now it's a matter of you harnessing that and making it work for you. So if people are actually doing the headshot thing, then harness it and maybe it'll work for your workflow. Mm-hmm. Or if that's no longer a value set for potential clients, then toss it away and pivot and figure out the next thing. Or show the value in actual headshot in-person photography, but don't die on the hill of trying to prove your point, because if people are going to save money doing the AI headshot thing, then they're going to do that, and you would do it too. That's the thing. Like, oh, I would never. Yeah, you would. If you know that you would, if you have staff and you have 700 people on staff, and you can either pay this photographer to take your headshots or take it on your iPhone and run it through the AI thing, you'll probably save some money doing it with the AI thing. It won't be up to par to what we believe needs to happen. But if they think that's the solution they need for their business, then go that route. And us as creatives, we need to figure out where the value add is in that. And going, well, not only will I do your headshot, but I'll also do your branding. Well, guess what? AI can't do the branding. I can, because I'm listening to your story. I'm listening to your ethos. I'm there in person. I'm getting to know the people that are working there, and I can actually do environmental portraiture there while I'm also doing the headshot. So now I'm giving them value as a human being that's connected to the story, that's connected to their business, and that can be reliable and give them a fast turnaround time. So I'm all about harnessing it. The reason I have my 48-hour turnaround time for wedding stuff is because I have after shoot, and I literally dump the cards as I'm putting stuff in my car on my laptop, and I run after shoot as I'm leaving and I'm driving. And by the time I get home, it's run through after shoot. I have a general cull and my edits are already on the photo. So now when I do my second pass, which AI does the first pass, I do the second pass. By the time I do my second pass, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done. So I can either pull an all nighter and finish in 24 hours or let it sit. I like to let it sit because I want my eyes to get readjusted. I want to come at it fresh, and I don't want to just throw it out there. I do want to put out my best work. So do that. And then if you need to run it through Evoto AI and retouch some things, now everything's on a slider. Instead of you going through Photoshop, you literally go through Evoto and move a slider to make sure that either certain skin or if there's flyaway hair and it was humid day in Florida, that gets tamed. And now you're putting out work that's really good. And the fact that now you get to turn it around quickly like that is crazy. The gallery hosting. I don't know what you use. I use PicTime.
I use Pixie, but you same
Okay.
same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The fact that you're giving them an experience as they're looking through things. Some of these gallery hosting companies are also harnessing AI and making GIFs with photos that look like in sequence. And now when they're scrolling through, you'll see the video or the GIF. Those are value adds, in my opinion. Some of them, they just recently, I think, released the beta or released it completely on PicTime, where they can also host your video. So like if you did photo and video at a wedding, you can put it in all in one space, and you can in PicTime specifically have like in-person sales stuff happen in automation. So once it's delivered, it'll get ba 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 ba, and it'll go 10% off, then 15% off, then the anniversary 25% off, and then it's things that you don't have to touch anymore because it's automated, and they'll get the emails whenever they'll get the emails, and now you're generating sales without even having to be hands on with it anymore. What else on that? PicTime will also, when you group the photos that you want to, you can make a slideshow. You can tell it to make GIFs for you with your branding, so that at the end of the GIF for the party moment, it'll have your logo and stuff like that. Value add. They can share it on their TikToks and Instagram Reels, and so on and so forth. There's something else on PicTime, but yeah, there's so many tools at your disposal to be able to do all the things that you need to do. Do they cost money? Yes, but time is money. So if you can turn that around and quickly have that at your clients, then do that. Another thing that I very much encourage is to take physical prints to your wedding clients. So if you've done the engagement session, show up with a print, because most of your clients, because they're in their 20s or early 30s, they don't see the value in a tangible good. So if you bring them an engagement photo print for them just to have, build it into your price. Make it a canvas, make it a floating canvas, give it to them, make it a big enough size that they can't get it at Walmart or whatever, but not small enough to be like an 8x10 or a 7 by or a 5x7. Nothing small, something significant that they can actually put on their wall, because the moment they experience and they take it to their home and they hang it up, they go, I want more of that. And immediately now their sales go up because they can purchase it straight off of PicTime.
I love how you kind of walk through that whole workflow from a realistic perspective about how AI is helping you all. The fact that you're doing it by the time you get home, you have your first call done is blows my mind, right? I have not jumped on like a culling train. I don't use a culling tool. I do it all myself. I just don't shoot the volume. I'm not doing a wedding of 5,000 pictures. It's just not my thing. So I love the fact that you look at AI not from a political or a philosophical standpoint. You look at it as a business owner and you say, time is money. How can I get faster tools to make me more money so that I'm not wasting time? That allows me to serve more clients. That allows me to do more of the thing that I love to do and spend less time doing the thing I don't love to do. I think there's a real cultural difference in this AI discussion between the tech bros, right, that are just trying to capitalize on AI, LLMs, whatever it might be. They're using AI in a way that it is their job. Then you have on the far other extreme are the people that are like, AI is using too much water, it's destroying us. And I'm like, what do you do for a living? Well, I work at a liquor store and I'm at a cash register, but I really hate AI. Okay, I can understand that. It has absolutely no bearing on your world. So you can see it as an evil thing. Those of us, then there's a lot more of us here in the middle that are kind of trapped between, all right, I don't really love kind of some of the evil sides of AI, but damn if it doesn't make my job a lot easier and a lot faster when I use it as a tool. It's why you don't see carpenters everywhere just using a hammer and nail and a chisel and a snap line. What you're seeing are Milwaukee tools and DeWalt and power this and power that. Why? Because it's faster, it's easier, and it's adapted. Are the Amish looking at them going, these idiots over here using nail guns? No, they're saying, you do you, boo. I'm going to be over here raising a barn next weekend, right? Everybody's cool with what they've got. For me, I look at it the same way as you. I will subscribe to more tools to try them one time to see, is this going to tweak? Is this going to like make me 3 hours faster in my workflow? Is this going to help me deliver things better? Does it give me more polish when I send things to my client, right? I was doing Dropbox delivery forever. And then I started using Pixie Set because I just had a client where it was just a lot easier to use a gallery tool. And I've been anti-gallery tool forever. Someone's going to screenshot it. They're going to, yada, yada, yada. I started using Pixie Set and I haven't looked back. I'm not sending them galleries to choose from. I'm sending them the final galleries, and it's a nice, beautifully presented way, and it's easy and intuitive for them rather than saying, I can't get into Dropbox. Can you share the link? I don't know what's going on. I run a Windows 95 PC, and, I have some of those clients. So being able to use tools that make the service feel better, that give better value to the client, where it seems like you're solving all their problems. I'm all about that all day. I'll spend $39 a month every month on 7 different tools if it makes it work better for me, because I know I'm making that up in the back end with not only money, but reputation. You got to go to Matt. He delivers fast. It's great quality work. And, there's no downtime. I'm not waiting 6 months for my wedding photos. So I love this AI adaptation. I'm all in on it. I really am. There's good and bad, but I'm spending enough time learning the ins and outs, the intricacies of it, what works, what doesn't, right? Putting a prompt in ChatGPT is different than building an entire agentic workflow in make.com and automating your entire business. That's a different level. That's something different. But it doesn't mean that the ChatGPT, Claude, Anthropic, whatever you want to use, isn't valid as well. If it helps you work faster, great. If you're doing it to be lazy, that's a different thing altogether. But for those of us that have businesses and are utilizing these tools, they're just tools. They're just tools. Help us get you your shit faster. I'm going to use all the tools I can get. All right. I like that. I like that you walk through that. And I swear to God, if I put that short up and like Justin doesn't give you a sponsorship out of that, then I don't know. I don't know what we're doing here, right? We just gave him a whole bunch of marketing, right? So, hey, after shoot, hey, Avoto, 2 guys right here you might want to hang out with. All right, cool. That's enough. That's enough scamming for sponsors.
Fly us to Vegas.
Fly me to Boston. It's a 3-hour drive. I'd rather just fly there. Yeah. Fly us to Vegas. Put us up. I'll sit in your booth. I'll sit in your booth. I have no problem with that. I got nothing else going on. Keeps me from drinking. All right. Let's see what else we got in here. The algorithm prayer circle. I didn't come up with these. This is all AI coming up with this. Speaking of which, the algorithm prayer circle, posting content consistently while secretly suspecting that Instagram's algorithm personally has it out for photographers who refuse to dance on camera. All right, so this has been one of my big things, right? I'm like, no matter what I do, no matter what I put out there, I can't compete with some 13-year-old dancing and then falling off a chair and hitting their head on the counter. 1, that's a lot funnier than I am. But 2, as photographers, you're not shadow banned. You're not shadow banned. There's 7 billion people using a platform. How big is your ego that you think all of those people are waiting for you to post some shit? They're not. They're not. You're not shadow banned. Your content's boring. That's it. That's all it comes down to. So post more, post different stuff, and don't worry about numbers, because I'm really tired of creatives saying that the platforms are against them. In boudoir, in photography, in horror, in my old world, the defense world, the gun world. I'm tired of people saying that the algorithms are against them, because they're not. You just haven't adapted enough to get around them, to work it your way. And I just think it's a certain type of ego that's just like, they're shadow banning me. They don't give a shit about you. If you disappeared tomorrow, Mark Zuckerberg's not like, oh my God, guys, quick meeting. How do we get Matt back? How do we do that? He's bringing us 0.00001% of income. What do we do? Nothing. Post better content. Work on your craft. Or don't post at all. What do you think? Where you at?
Yeah, no, it's yeah, I can't do the whole dancing thing, and the excuses are, it's just like then find other content to post. How about that? Make it interesting. Like for me, as of recently, it's been the Wisdom Wednesday,
I love those.
which if people are about my brand, then they're about Wisdom Wednesdays, because it's people that are trying to find and navigate life in a certain way. So find content that's adjacent, that's relatable, that's funny, that is out of the box. Don't rinse and repeat. And there is an urge to go, oh, that worked for that person, I'm gonna try that. Find your voice, and if that means falling on your ass a couple times, just throw things to the wall until something sticks, and then go with that. That's literally like influencer 101. Like all these people who have become famous and got all these followers and went viral, they literally have been throwing stuff to the wall for years, trying to figure out what it is that's going to make them special or stand out from the crowd. Just keep on posting. Be consistent about posting, even if it's different stuff. If you feel like you're being clocked or flagged or banned for, if you're a boudoir photographer, if you're putting too many racy photos, then guess what? Stop putting up racy photos and make something funny, make something serious, make something that's adjacent, and answer questions live on social media. Oh, why don't you want to do a boudoir shoot? Well, these are the major questions or concerns that people don't do things. Do that. You don't have to put the racy picture in and put up a fit because, oh, they don't let me put my content up. Then pick something else. There's always going to be an obstacle for you to get to your destination. So you're either going to look at it and complain about it, or you're going to move the obstacle out the way or jump over it or figure out how to bring the solution that you need to do. But the last thing you need to do is look at it and be like, oh, this sucks. There's an obstacle in front of me. Fix it.
I'm gonna pick on the boudoir world a little bit, and only because I understand there are incomprehensible rules to posting on Facebook and Instagram and all that. And it's the puritanical view in the United States that we can't see bodies or nipples or anything like that, right? I understand that there are certain forces against that style of photography for absolutely no reason. When you see a lot of, we'll call them dancers, performers online shaking things that you're like, how is this okay, but boudoir photography, fine art is not? That's a whole different conversation. But the thing is, if you can't post your content there, build your email list and send stuff out to your audience, right? Make videos and write a Substack or a blog somewhere.
There you go.
And put all your stuff there. Have a Patreon, right? Nino did this for quite a bit. Have a Patreon where people can go view your work. You're relying on a platform that doesn't care about you or your audience to provide an audience for you, instead of you going out, and I'm not talking about you, Sam, but I'm like, instead of people going out and finding their audience and then communicating with them. And I find it really frustrating when people are like, well, I've tried everything. No, you haven't. Because I say that all the time, and I'm like, I haven't tried everything. But I'm like, oh, I've tried everything. Have you gone to a networking meeting? No. Have you gone outside? No. Have you called anybody? No. So why are you expecting anything to change? And I have to have this conversation with myself probably 5, 6 times a day, right? Where I'm like, you've done everything you can do. Well, no, you haven't. Try it this way. So,
Hold on. Speaking about Nino and people making excuses. All right,
oh
we're
no.
talking world. Hold on. We're talking about world class images, amazing work. If I'm not mistaken, Nino, if you're watching this, just put it in the comments. If I'm not mistaken, this man has not switched to mirrorless. He is still using a 5D Mark II with a 70 to 200, if I'm not mistaken, or a 7D. It's a mirrored camera. It's a behemoth of a weight thing. And he still uses the same gear and produces amazing work.
Exceptional.
There's no excuse. There's no excuse. You don't need to get the new thing. If the world renowned photographer is using gear from over 2 decades ago and it's still producing amazing work, then it's not the gear. It's not the gear. Ugh.
I agree with you. So I've got here in my camera bag, I'll reach down, see if I don't fall off my chair this way. So, and I think I might have talked to you about this before. I'll shout into the mic. Is the little Ricoh GR2, right? I love this little point and shoot camera. The reason I have this is because of Parker Pfister. I went on a bunch of workshops with him, worked with him a little bit, and he turned me on to the GR2. He uses it almost exclusively in his portrait work. And I want you, not you, but anybody listening, go to Parker J Photo on Instagram. Look at that work. Understand that most of that was taken with this, or he's doing it on like 8x10 wet plates, like big old film cameras, right? But the digital stuff, he has, I think, 3 or 4 of these, and they all have their little own flavor to them. But that's the wonderful thing about the camera, is that it gives you these incredible things to tell stories in a different way. And it has nothing to do with him using the latest and greatest, whatever it is. I've stood next to him with my GR2, and he's got one, and we take the same photo, and his can be in a museum, and mine, my mom wouldn't put on her fridge, right? It's how you use the tool and how you tell the story. It has nothing to do with having the latest and greatest. I think what you were saying about Nino and me talking about Parker, the work is world class. It's incredible. And they're still facing the same problems that we have, which is low view counts, right? These are people that I idolize as top of their game in photography. And they're still being limited by platforms and views. And it has nothing to do with the quality of the work. There are forces against us, but it's rarely like, you know what? Matt takes portraits. Fuck that guy. We're not going to post any of his stuff. It's like, in particular, him. It's not like that. You're just in a sea of people. And as they craft this algorithm, it's just showing you more of what they think you want to see. So if all you're doing is looking at boobs online, what do you think you're going to get in your feed, right? If all you're looking at is, your competitors, all you're going to see are your competitors. That's going to make you feel worse. Ask me how I know. So I think we need to get over ourselves that the algorithm is supposed to work for us. It's not. It's not. We're leeching off a free platform, and we have to play by their rules. So what have the best people in the world ever done? They've broken the rules. They've gotten around it. They've thought their way through it. We got to do the same thing.
Yep.
Now, I don't know how to do that, and I have no answers. But I can sound like a professional because I've got a microphone in front of me, and that makes me sound like
Ladies and gentlemen, we're professionals here.
Okay.
On the note that you just said there right before you go into the next one, if you need to reset your algorithm, there are settings on Instagram that you can go and start from scratch. So if your algorithm is actually feeding you stuff that you don't want to see anymore, whether you went down a rabbit hole politically one day and now all you're seeing is political stuff and you don't want to see all the chaos, you can go to your settings and reset your entire algorithm and start from scratch. just go into the settings, YouTube it, do what you need to do. I'm not going to go through that right now, but you can do that with just about all platforms and restart the entire algorithm. On Instagram specifically, if you just want to see the people that are on your timeline, the Instagram thing at the very top, you click that and you hit following, and you will only see the people that you are following instead of the things that Instagram is going to attach to you in regards to that. And if you have some issues with like seeing people's work and feeling some kind of way about it, I think all of us go through that, where we go, yo, man, I don't really want to unfollow this person, but they're putting out this work and it's making me feel a certain type of way. You don't have to unfollow people. You can just mute them and call it a day and do that way. And even if it's that's for a season, just do that. Sometimes you're just like, man, my work sucks. This person's work is this and blah, blah, blah. If you're going to keep telling yourself that every time you see that person, you don't have to unfollow them, but just mute them for your own mental health and that kind of thing. But yeah, restart your algorithm, do all that stuff, and figure out all the ways that you can use these tools so they're not harvesting your brain instead of you using it as a tool.
Dude, one, I didn't know you could do that, so thank you for that. Two, I've got a callus on my thumb from blocking and muting people, right? So I'm like, what bullshit are you on today? And it's just kind of like, I stubbed my toe and it was Trump's fault or it was Biden's fault. And I'm like, all right, you're going to 30-day purgatory. I'll check back in a month, see if you're still on the same bullshit. And if you come back in 30 days and you're still screaming about that thing, you get the block. And I have zero issue with it anymore. I used to be like, oh, I don't want to offend anybody. Fuck them. It's just like one big block. I just don't need that energy in my life. I'm just so done with it. I'm really, really done with it.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. The social media thing is something we can talk about forever, but you had mentioned about posting consistently, right? To beat the algorithm and all that. And my friend Doc, he's been posting a video every day for, I think it's 430 days or something that he's at now. Posting a video every single day. And they're not like, oh, here I am at the car meet and look at all these cars, and he pans around. It's horrible. It's like always 8, 10, 15 minutes of just knowledge. And I've watched him do it. What he'll do is a live like this, says, I'm going to record a video. You can watch me do it. And then he records the video, and then he shows you how he edits it, and then he posts it. So while he's doing the live, he's making a video. And then at the end of the video, he posts the video, and now he's got a live and the video out there. So he's doing like 2 at once. If he does it long enough, he can do a couple of shorts in there, and now he's got, stuff for days. The consistency is what brings people in. You don't have to be Zemeckis or Spielberg or anybody to make this stuff. What you have to do is just produce consistently, have a message, have a voice, and just do the thing. It's really that easy. As I've started producing content more consistently and not being like, I posted this photo 7 months ago. I shouldn't post it again because people are going to know. No one's going to know. No one's going to know.
No one's going to know. Nobody even remembered.
No one scrolls past the first 9 pictures on your profile anyway, because they're all up in stories and they're just scrolling reels. But all I'm saying is the consistency is what matters. I've noticed that as I've paid more attention to the generator channel instead of Stone Tree, generator followers have gone up. I'm not doing huge numbers, but I'm like, hey, 10% increase a month is trackable increase, right? So I love the fact that you're on the consistency train too, because we all struggle with it, right? Life gets in the way. But the more you can do things consistently, your audience will say, hey, Matt's going live on Wednesday nights. All right, I'll tune in on Wednesday nights, right? So, all right, next grievance. And I'm going to offer you up one. What do you got? What's your grievance for the year?
Where have all the people gone?
What's there? It's like 28 years later. There's 7 people on the planet.
I'm straight up going Disney. I'm just like, where I want to be where the people are. I'm like, where is everybody?
That's been the hard thing. I live in this tiny little town, and yeah, it's a struggle. Like we can call it what did I call it? I wrote it down. The wrong zip code tax. right? Of living in a place, right? I choose to live here, 700 people, and I can't complain that I don't get enough clients when I'm living basically on Mars, right? But that's still not an excuse because I've been able to make this business work for the past couple of years. I think there is a reality, though, of market saturation, of being in the wrong place, right? If I
Yeah.
move to a more populated area, is are the numbers there that I might actually get more business? Yeah, because it's a numbers game. Does it guarantee success that the grass is going to be greener? Absolutely not. Because if I'm doing shitty networking here, I'm going to do shitty networking in Texas or North Carolina or California because the problem is all wrapped up within me. It has nothing to do with where GPS says my pin is. Right.
Yep.
So, for me, it's less about the location and more about what am I willing to do or not do. And this goes back to where we were talking earlier. What am I willing to do to make this happen?
Yep.
And I don't know about you, but I know that I've gotten to a point where I'm just exhausted. I'm exhausted by doing all the hard work.
Yeah.
If you were to say tomorrow, you're putting your camera down, what are you doing? Where are you going? Perfect world, right? You're going to make a living doing something. What is it that you'd be doing? Would you go back to
I have
music
no
or
idea.
ministry or anything
I
like
have zero idea. Zero idea. Zero idea. And so, again, go watch the last podcast and learn about my life a little bit. But yeah, I think in the moments of uncertainty, which is really where we're at, I think you and I and a gazillion of our colleagues, we're in this state of uncertainty. Two things can happen. Either it'll break you and you'll learn a lesson, or it'll break you enough to know that you need to change something. And again, you will always go through the moments where the pitter patter and the depression and all that other stuff. And I'm not trying to make like it light or whatever. All of that stuff is heavy. I told you yesterday, like I spent like an entire week in bed, did not move, had the blackout curtains up, didn't know what time of day it was. I only got up to pee and went back to sleep, let the phone die, threw it on the floor. It was only a friend that realized after a week that was like, "Oh, where's Sam and why is he not picking up?" And they ended up banging on my door and getting me out of the house. So yeah, go through the bout, feel it, feel the feelings, and then shake it off. Take a shower, please take a shower, and get out and do the work and do something. Because it's not going to happen by itself. And yes, it is hard. Do the hard work. No one's going to give you anything and no one owes you anything. That's the biggest lessons I've learned as being a business owner is the fact that no one's going to hand you anything. You have to go out there and take it. You have to go out and take it. Stop waiting for the miracle. Stop waiting for the views. Stop waiting for virality. You need to go out and do the thing. And as an introvert, you have to do extrovert shit in order to get shit done and to make the connections and do all the things. Like if you're not going out there shaking hands, doing the talking, and I know it's exhausting. And it's out of your comfort element. But guess what? So is owning a business. Everything about it. So get out of your head, go do the thing, shake a lot of hands. I went to a network meeting. I didn't even ask who was going to be there. I only found out after the fact. No one was going to be a connection that was going to be valuable for me. But I shook a lot of hands, met a couple people, and I thought because of their direct line of work that I was like, this was a waste of time. But the voiceover guy calls me and tells me, hey, my kid's getting married. I'm going to send them your information. There's the connection. And you'd think immediately like, oh, this was such a waste of time. There's a bunch of XYZ fill in the blank title of job at this thing. No one here is going to need a photographer, a videographer, a creator for this, a creator for that. But guess what? They know people that might need your service. So you'll never know who you interact with, and treat everyone as if they're the $1 million client. Even if they're not a client, even if there's just a connection. There's a level of humanity that when you do that, when you treat people like with that authentically, that it gives you dividends in return.
The networking meeting, I agree with 100% of what you're saying. The networking meeting thing for me, I used to go into them thinking, all right, you have to talk about yourself constantly and you have to push and sell, 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 sell. And I suck at that. But when I would just talk to people and ask them questions and shut up and listen, what came back at me were not the short answers, the small talk. People want to talk to others and they want to connect. And I found that when I just shut up and got out of the way of myself and let them speak, that opportunities then presented themselves for me to be able to serve them, right? They might be saying, you know what, I'm how you doing? Oh, I'm worried about my daughter's wedding. She's getting married down in DC. I don't know what I'm going to be doing. You need to talk to my buddy Sam. He's down there. He's a great photographer. If he can't do something for you, he's going to refer you to other people. What you're doing is solving a problem for them. Immediately, you start becoming a different person in their eyes than what you were 3 minutes ago, just some random Jamo at a networking meeting. Now you're someone that has connected with them and is helping them solve a legitimate problem. You're not asking anything of them. You're not asking, be like, you have to come. I'll fly me down. I'll go to DC and I'll do that. Nope. What you're doing is you're finding ways to serve and opportunities to help other people. That, in my
Yeah,
experience, has gotten me more jobs than me asking for the job.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
being
And
genuine.
even down to like our interaction when we first met, like we were at that event. I think we talked camera for like 3 minutes, and then I went in the deep end into personal stuff, and then like the amount of parallels that we shared in like life stories that created that connection, and then we did the podcast, and now we stay connected, and like when I was feeling the way that I was feeling a couple nights ago, and I was just like, "Yo, you got a minute to chat, whatever." The reason I even thought of sending that message out was because I know Matt has similar parallels to me, and he'll know what this feeling is. And then I call you, and not only did I like vent and let that all out, but then also you took your turn and you were like, I have some stuff to say too.
Yep.
Um, and we had that moment, and it was just like, yo, and the moment you stop being, the moment you stop seeking an answer and just start being human, man, things turn around. Things turn around.
I'm a big believer in that, man. I was done with the photography world this year. Like I was literally ready to bag it up in late August, September. Um, it was just a tough year all around, being about 50% down year over year. And, to the point where even last year, I kind of squeaked by. This year was not squeaking by. This year was pure survival. And the thing that got me out of my deep, dark pit of despair and willing to give it all up when I wasn't ready, but I was just like, it's the only answer that I have was, and I'll talk about this over and over, is when I got out of the industry and I looked wider. I started thinking, I think when I think creatives, I think photographer, I think videographer, because that's the world that I live in. I don't think paper crafters and puppeteers and people that are doing tool reviews in their workshop in the basement. I don't think about creatives that way, but they're all just as much a creator as I am. And when I was in that room at creator camp with all of these people, about 50 people, I was only one of like two or three photographers out of this entire group. I thought it would be all industry people, and it was not at all. What it was people that shared a love for live streaming and video and using it as part of their business and connecting with people. And I said, wow, my ego has gotten so big that I thought that photographers were the end all be all. and I sat next to a woman who has been doing a YouTube channel where she folds paper into things like boxes or roses or stuff like that. And she uses a certain stationery from a certain company, and she's got affiliates, whatnot. She did 1 million plus in affiliate sales last year from her YouTube channel. I had no idea who this woman was, and I was just like, "Oh, that's cute. You do paper folding. That's cute." And she's like, "Yeah, I used to be a forensic accountant for the government, and now I support my entire family doing my YouTube channel." And I was like, "I shall shut up now and listen to everything that you have to say." And the cool thing was, it revived me in a way that I was just like, oh my God, we can do so much more than what we're doing. We get so trapped and insular in this weird little incestual world of photography that if we just stepped back and looked wide open, the ideas just flow in. And since the beginning of October, when I got home from that, I feel like everything has changed for me, not income wise, but philosophically, what I feel aligned with, how I feel good about helping people, what I'm creating. I feel that spark again. And the only thing that I did was completely change my environment of who I was surrounding myself with, the conversations that I was having, and allowing myself to realize that I don't have all the answers at all. So when you can kind of strip yourself down to nothing and say, well, what's the worst that can happen? I have found so many more things now that fill my cup, more so than, oh God, I hope this picture that I just took impresses the 7 other photographers that are never going to see my shit on Instagram anyway. So why am I concerned about impressing them? I've got this one life to live. How am I feeling about what I'm doing creatively? And if I don't feel good doing it, how do I shift into a way that does make me feel good? And that little dose of just changing my environment and the people that I talk to, yeah, I lost a lot of friends in the photography world. I've backed off from talking to a lot of the people that I used to talk to all the time. And it has nothing to do with them. I don't think they're bad people, and I don't miss, I miss them as friends, but it's the same thing of like, I need to surround myself with energy of people that want to grow, that are ambitious, that don't want to stay in a victim mindset, that say, bad things are happening to me now, but I want to get out of it. How do we do that? How do we grow? How do we fix ourselves instead of waiting for someone to save us? Because no one's coming to save you, man. So I love the fact that we can do these things and look outside the industry, feel better, do more, get better insights, because those people are going to be the connections that we can give to other people to serve them, right? So now we're in the network meeting. I can say, "Oh, I've got this paper craft. You like stationery? Oh my God, she's sponsored by Filofax. She's going to be able to give you all the information. Let me give you her name right here." And they're like, "Oh my God, I was looking for the best fountain pen ever. You just connected me with that person." That's how the stuff happens. And I'm only saying that because I've seen it time and time again over the past 2.5 months. So I'm like, all right, there's something here. Let's stick with this. And I just want to bring more people along with me. Come on over. Start a podcast. Be on my podcast network. Start some videos. Start some live streaming. Let's cross promote. Let's do this. Let me hook you up with whatever network I have. The better conversations that we can have as creatives and call this shit out, the better off we're all going to be. I hear a lot of people complaining that people don't value photography. That's not the potential customer's fault. That's our fault. We're not showing the value. We're not giving them opportunity to see what we do, how we do it. We sit at home under this guise of we're photographers. So you're just going to come into my studio and I'm going to take over. No, that's not it at all. The great equalizer. We have to prove why we're better than this. And sometimes you don't even have to prove why you're better. Use this thing. If it's all you got, use this thing. But show how you tell the story better. Right? I had not to keep rambling, but the hot chocolate has a little bit of funny stuff in it and making me feel good. So I had a 14-year-old come in yesterday for some actress headshots, and her mom and dad were there. And I'm talking to the dad. Dad's a lawyer. And we were going through the reveal and we're going through all these shots. And it's kind of like, successive shots. One's here, and one's here, right? All like 3 instant shots next to each other. And he was just like, why do they all look different? I'm like, because you're seeing different emotions based on eye size and light and what you're seeing and shadow. And he was like, wow, there's a lot more that goes into this. I'm like, these are just headshots, man. And I was like, let me see your LinkedIn headshot. He shows me, and I'm like, yeah, we can work with something else than this. I'm like, because he was like, it wasn't something that it was just like his company had an outing, and then like the security guy came with the little camera and took pictures of everybody, and that's their headshot. And I'm like, does that make you feel like you? He's like, no. So we get a chance to prove to people why there's a craft here. And it doesn't have to come at a huge cost, but we can show the value in that. When you can explain it to someone and they understand why we go through the processes we go through, that never would have happened as a conversation if I just took the pictures, sent them a gallery, and said, pick 5 of your favorites. We were able to go through and have them understand why photos can be so powerful. That to me is way more important than another $200 for an extra picture. Because that guy now has the seed plant in his head. Wow, we should get him to come to our law firm and do all the headshots. And I just play the long game. So yeah, it's no one's coming to save you. Figure out ways to save yourself.
Find the problem, be the solution.
Be the solution.
Find the problem, be the solution. Anytime you look at a situation, that's what it is. When a client comes to you, you have to find the problem, be the solution. That is it. If you want to break it down to the lowest common denominator in regards to client and professional workspace, that's all you're doing. They're coming to you. They obviously have a problem of some sort. You need to be the solution. Why are you coming to me for boudoir? What is the problem? Has society told you you're not sexy anymore? Do you think that XYZ, it's whatever? Well, here's the solution. Present the solution, and that's it. That's all you have to do is present it, and then it's up to them to take it or not.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. I love this conversation. I can't believe we've been on it for 2 hours, except for the couple of minutes at the beginning where we screwed it up. All right. So last one. Let's kind of pick something good here, and then we'll start landing this plane. So all right. This one's a little bit financially motivated since that's kind of where we started. That's where we're at. The credit card roulette, that special game where you try to figure out which card still has $47 of available credit so you can buy groceries. Bonus points if you're simultaneously beta testing $600 software. Yeah. So I had to have a really hard conversation with myself this Christmas season. I love giving gifts. I don't expect anything. I don't need anything. I've literally got everything I could possibly want. And I don't care if I get a gift. I love seeing smiles on people's faces when I'm able to give them a gift. And this year's really hard to be able to do that for anybody. I spent way too much using my credit card this year. I was living off it for several months because nothing was coming in, and worked myself into a Grand Canyon size hole of debt, let's call it. And I'm working my way out of it, and it's manageable, but I had to do some things that were really, really painful in terms of cashing out IRAs and selling some things that were important to me, all to survive. And it's not because I'm too lazy to get another job. I can't find another job right now. But I'm doing the things to say, all right, I've been here before. I'll get out of it again. But it's a real hard thing to let go of the lifestyle that you're used to and live in a much more meager and humble way and not try to spend your way out of it. You can't spend your way out of poverty. Ask me how I know. But I was trying to do that for sure. I'm like, I got this little magic card. That little magic card gets me cameras and microphones and all sorts of stuff. I'm not making any income. Ah, shit. What am I going to do? So the credit card roulette, the finances, the robbing Peter to pay Paul, trying to shuffle it all around. Everybody's got their flavor of it. Everybody's got their version of it. I think for me, it came down to just realizing my own bad habits and being able to rectify that. I'm like, oh, wow, I don't miss my morning coffee. I don't miss that piece of equipment because it didn't bring me anything. I can use this other thing for another year or 2 or 3. I don't need the new shiny thing. And once I realized that I didn't need the new shiny thing, or I didn't need to follow the same habits all the time, magically, I wasn't spending as much money. Magically, I started to be able to pay off some stuff. How do you deal with? I've had problems with money my entire life. How do you deal with financial crises? Are you someone that's just kind of like, well, I'm here, might as well just keep digging? Or are you someone that's just kind of like, all right, let's start filling the hole a little bit. Let's do whatever needs to be done to get out of this. How do you deal with it?
Man, I keep on pointing back to the first freaking podcast, but like I've hit rock bottom,
Yep.
like in regards to financials. Like I was homeless, so it's real. And you get to this place where you get good at your craft, and you have some money coming in, and you get the nice gear, right? And then you get gas, you get, gear acquisition syndrome. You just keep on buying things. You keep on buying the next lens. You have, in my case, 435 millimeters. Why do you have 435 millimeter lenses, Sam? You don't need 4 of them. But you do these things, right? And then you get to this place where money gets tight, this famine and feast. And then you start realizing you have a lot. And here's the, okay, I don't get into the credit card thing. I have a credit card and do all that stuff because I had to at some point.
Yeah.
But because my parents are so financially illiterate, I got a little bit more information and knowledge in that space, and fear never allowed me to get what was, I think, 68 credit cards that my dad had at one point. Yeah, and it was just like, I'm gonna pay this credit card off with this credit card, and he did that. He managed life like that for years, and I was just like, after becoming an adult and realizing what I was like, I don't know how you didn't give yourself a heart attack, but he lived in that reality, and I told myself I'll never ever do that again. So I have liquidation. I can liquefy a lot of my assets. I'm not, because I was homeless and I went from nothing, literally, like none of this stuff, literally is 0 things I am attached to. I have a bunch of music gear, PA systems, microphones, drum set, guitars, like you literally, you name it, I have it, right? And I'm like, I can get rid of this stuff tomorrow. I do not care. Down to like a vehicle, like my vehicle, I went to the dealer and I was like, this is how much I have. I do not want a car note. Whatever it is that I can get with this, no fees. Like, this is it. This is all I got. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did. I got the car that I can get with what I got, because I hate subscription models. I'd rather pay the yearly instead of the monthly, like that whole thing. So for those people that are listening that are going through a financial rut right now, figure out what you can liquidate if you need to liquidate. Don't Marie Kondo anything at this point, because you have to survive. So whatever it is, like if you have 3 cameras, bruh, you started with 1, you can live with 1. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like I'm a Sony shooter, so like the A7S III is my video one, but my A7 IV is like my photo one, and my A9 II is like my special photo one. And I'm like, I can get rid of most of these cameras because they all do generally the same thing. None of them are gonna limit me in any way or capacity. They just make certain things easier, but not $4,000 to $5,000 easier. Like, I could get rid of some stuff. Yeah, if I were to start all over and like sell all my lenses, all I would keep is obviously my 35 millimeter, because I love that focal length. That's all I need. And yeah, Yeah, if you've collected stuff, if you're that person who's like, I got all the gear, I have all the harnesses, I have all the things to hold things, and I have two laptops, and get rid of, start liquidating. Yeah, it hurts to have less and work with less because you got used to editing on the phone, on the
Right.
fancy monitor and all the things. Maybe it's that time to start reassessing what's really valuable to you. Because that's what I'm doing. I've literally taken a bunch of my gear to like the local music shop. Uh, I've listed some cameras on Facebook Marketplace and all that stuff. So do what you need to do to survive and stop playing credit card roulette. Don't start bad financial habits. Yeah, if you in a pinch need to do that, yeah, everybody's going to be in a pinch. Do the thing that you need to do in order to survive, but make sure that it's worth it at the end, or that at least that you know for a fact is going to get you from point A to point B. And yeah, I've considered taking on jobs that I told myself I would never do again at this point, because it's just like, here we are.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Like you've
Yeah,
got to make the living, right? You've got to
yeah.
keep yourself alive. And yeah, but before we get too far, if you need to buy a Sennheiser G2 kit, I've got one for you. Like just saying, because you might need that, right? So, um,
If you need extra iPads,
are we gonna do a
you
whatnot
know,
like live shopping thing here? That's what we should.
yeah,
Fuck,
yeah, yeah.
that's what we
So,
should do.
yeah, let's, yeah.
That's
We got some small rig V mount batteries if you need those. We
what
got some
like this
super
one,
clamps.
like
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah. There you go.
Anyone need a Rico GR2? Um, yeah, I think one of the things that I did. I agree with everything you said. It's all really good advice. Do what you have to do. Sell what you have to sell. It's just stuff. It's just things, right?
It's just
And
stuff.
and I've got a lot that I've started collecting to be like, all right, next Sunday I'll start listing all of this stuff. I'm just trying to collect it all, look at it, and be like, all right, do I really need this or can I get rid of it? And 99% of it is like I've got to get rid of all of this stuff. But the from the credit card angle, what I did, the one that I was really close to maxing out, which had a high limit and I'm not proud of, I got to the point one day I just cut it up. Just cut it up. And I said, I'm not using that anymore. And I had a couple of good months and I paid off a bunch of it. And now I only use an Apple card because I treat it like an Amex and I pay it off every single month. But every time I use it, I'm thinking, do I have the $10 to pay this off? Can I get breakfast? Will I be able to pay this off? And if the answer is yes, then I can use that and not carry cash. But everything gets paid off. So I'm not accumulating any debt month to month to month. And it's not doing anything that cash wouldn't do for me. I switched to this all cash mindset and it has curbed my spending probably, 90% anyway. There are still some things I'll put in my cart and I'm like about to press that button and I'm like, don't let that sit until the morning. And then in the morning, do you really need that thing? And then I sober up and I'm like, God, what was I doing? I don't need that. And if I can justify it or I get a job and I can work in an extra $200 to get the thing that I want, then I'll do that, right? But I don't do it before I have the means. And that made a huge shift for me. And it's kind of financial 101, but like you, my parents mismanaged money their entire I don't know how my dad supported us. I really don't. I don't understand it as a teacher. I have no idea how he did it. And then the more I find out, he was kind of like your dad. He's using this credit card to pay this one, and then he's taking out this loan to pay off this loan and refinancing that. I don't even know how many times he refinanced the house. So I look at that and I say, well, if he could do it and made his way and raise three kids and stay married for 50 years, I can't have any leg to stand on to bitch and moan about the fact that I can't get my new Hollyland camera. Like it's so dumb, right? So listen, man, this has been the best way to spend Christmas Eve. I'm so grateful for this conversation to be able to hang out with you, see your face, and connect and hear the thoughts and have people join us and do all this stuff. And now I feel far less alone than I did a couple hours ago. Thank you, man. Seriously, for being my friend, for showing up,
Thank
for
you.
listening to me, and for just being part of this whole community. You are a driving force in what we do. And I see it. I see the way you treat people. I see your relationships with people. I see how they admire and are attracted to whatever charisma you have. But people love being around you because they see your honesty and your authenticity and how much you care about being a creator in what you do. Thank you for doing all of that and being one of those people in our community where we can look at and be like, be more like Sam. Thank you for that.
And thank you, Matt. Thank you. Because I leached off that YouTube studio tour video in like, I just literally grabbed every idea you had in your space, and I was like, I'm implementing that. I was taking notes. I was trying to find every single little backdrop situation,
And look where
walls
we
and
are.
everything. I was like, yeah, look at us. Look at us. Look at us.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
This is where we had the portrait wall.
Right, exactly.
Oh, man.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. All right, man. Listen, have an incredible day tomorrow. I hope Santa doesn't do any sort of home invasion tonight because I'm locked and loaded. So if I hear any, man, I live so remote. If I hear a coyote fart like 100 yards away, I'm like, all right, what do we got? Right. So I hope you have an incredible day tomorrow, no matter what you do. You got plans? You seen anybody?
Nah, man.
No.
I'm solo. I'm solo.
All right, I'm going to take a drive down to Boston, try to see my family, but I'm going to send you a text tomorrow, see how you're doing, and we'll just kind of continue this conversation. I want to keep doing these lives. Maybe we will do maybe we should plan that, like a live selling thing one night. My buddy just did it, and he got rid of like $5,000 worth of stuff. So maybe we should do a live selling. Ooh, not a bad idea. Look at us monetizing live streams.
New year, new gear.
New year, no. Not for us, for them.
No, for other people. For other people. Yeah, for the other people. Lightly used. Lightly used.
Because I was like, oh, let me check my Amazon cart. Hold on one second. All right, brother. Thank you for hanging out, man. Hang on here for just 1 second. Let me shut stuff down for the people out there, but then we're going to continue to talk. So hold on 1 second. Later, guys.